And I want to play a little bit for you of his closing argument and some of his comments that are, frankly, a little tougher against Hillary Clinton than they have been.
I listened very closely to what Bush and Cheney and others had to say, studied the issue. I voted against the war in Iraq. I should tell you that not every candidate running on the Democratic side voted against that war, although we all heard the same information.
So that was Bernie Sanders earlier today in Mount Pleasant, Iowa, building on a line from an event last night where he also talked about issues like trade, like gay marriage, contrasting himself implicitly with Hillary Clinton, saying he didn't need to essentially put his finger in the political winds to figure out where he stood on it, that he has held the same positions consistently throughout. So we've talked a lot about whether Sanders was going to go negative. They still have that one ad up on the air that talks about Wall Street without naming Hillary Clinton. But Bernie Sanders on the stump really hitting that second argument against Hillary Clinton's candidacy. And that, of course, is that number on honesty and trustworthiness that we've been seeing, frankly, take a dip and as part of what is ultimately driving his success here in Iowa. So the question whether he's going to keep that up, if he's going to be able to do that in a way that will allow him to pull out a win when both sides at this point are saying that they see a slight advantage for Hillary Clinton.
And let me just ask you about one other thing today. The daughter of Eric Garner endorsed Bernie Sanders. She, of course, the daughter of Garner, who died in 2014 after being put in a chokehold by NYPD officers while he was being arrested. His daughter wrote this about Bernie Sanders, wrote, quote, "Who will address the criminalization of our people? Who understands that we're experiencing an economic crisis made worse by structural barriers to jobs and education? Who will bring us closer to real safety, freedom, and power? Who has clearly shown us where they stand?" Senator Sanders, Casey, has struggled, I think it's fair to say, with African-American voters. The polls show him not doing as well in that demographic. This has got to be an endorsement that they're happy to have.
He absolutely has struggled, and that's partly because Hillary Clinton has such strong and deep ties to the African-American community. She and her husband, of course, have prioritized that community for many, many years. Bernie Sanders has come under some criticism from African-American journalists, columnists, for the way he's discussed issues of race and justice in this campaign. But Erica Garner writing that Bernie Sanders took into account, you'll remember he was confronted by Black Lives Matter protesters earlier this year, and she writes in that endorsement that he seems to have heard what they had to say and adjusted his messaging. I actually talked to Bernie Sanders about this in an interview with him yesterday, and I asked him whether there was a fundamental difference between growing up as a black man in America or versus a white man. That's been one of the lines of criticism from some African Americans, and he said there absolutely is, and he talked at some length about what he would do as president to try and deal with racial disparities in the criminal justice system. Now, whether he's going to be able to convince ultimately African-American voters that they should trust him and vote for him in places like South Carolina, many of these bigger, more diverse states that are coming down the pike in this presidential race, is yet to be seen. But it's certainly something that the Clinton campaign is counting on over the course of this long nomination process.
All right, Casey Hunt out in Iowa on the bus with Bernie Sanders. Casey, thanks so much.